what's going on? It's Andrew or SkullHQ here, and today we have the BusyMinds Nano in this little tin here. One of your smaller tins. There it is. This is how it comes packaged. Obviously I've had this for a little bit, and I feel comfortable to do a review of it. Look at how small that guy is. Just a standard tin with some foam insert in there with a little felt top. Trying to keep it safe during shipping. Speaking of shipping, this guy took 2 weeks to ship to me, so much so we had a little problem with them when I tried emailing the main guy over at Zero Feud. No one answered my emails, and then I contacted someone on an admin of their Facebook page, and they threw a hissy fit. So just be expecting a long waiting time for shipment. Even if it says it's shipped, it's probably just that the shipping label was created and not necessarily that it did leave anywhere. Yeah, and this guy came in 2 padded envelopes, not the older orange-yellow padded envelopes, but the new gray ones that are basically all bubble wrap. It was in 2 of those, plus it was shrink wrapped in the tin, and then obviously you saw it had a little baggie inside of the tin. So yeah, I am a really big fan of this little BusyMinds Nano here. While I was a little bit mad and expecting not to like this spinner because of what happened with the whole shipping thing, I am pleasantly surprised by this guy, quite a bit. So let me explain why I like this spinner so much. I wanted to get something different. I have had a couple tri-spinners, metal ones, mostly brass, and then I got the Titan Think Tank, and I wanted something stainless steel, so I bought this and the Origin SE. So the Origin SE being my first real bar spinner, and this being my first nano spinner, or mini spinner, because this guy, if you can tell, is very, very tiny. We'll do some size comparisons in a minute. But I really wanted it because it was small, it would be something different, and because I really liked how chunky these arms are. As you can see here, they're just very small in like length, but they're just like thick. I like it a lot. I really, really like it. So if you take a look at the design here, you can see on the arms here, they're all individually brushed. It's a bit hard to see because of the way the lighting works, but they're individually brushed outwards, and again they're brushed outwards to the very nice rounded outside edges here. And then in the middle, I don't know if this is if just machining or if it is brushed sideways, but the machining lines go up and down. I do also have this weird line that goes across the whole bottom of it and the whole top of it up here. It's kind of weird. And the caps, I believe, are just machine finish. They don't seem to be anodized or brushed or anything. It looks very good. We have the thicker arms on the outside for that mass ratio, and then we have cutouts here to help with that as well. Let's take a look underneath of the buttons. So the buttons themselves are just some standard screw-off buttons, and under here you can see some of the nice brushing work that was done. See it going out from the middle there, from the bearing. And under here it does say BusyMinds and the bearing retainer. This is just it's either stainless steel or hybrid ceramic R188. I'm leaning towards stainless steel. I can't really tell because of the lighting in everywhere. Just it seems to be like there are steel balls in there, not hybrid ceramic. I don't know, but it definitely seems to be stainless steel. So, but yeah, and that sits pretty flush, and it just, I think it looks really good underneath the hood. Really uniform, and I really, really like these brush strokes. Looks so nice. I really like brushed stainless steel, I've learned. And then these buttons, as I talked about, they're just some standard screw-on buttons, but they do have this problem where like you go to put it in and the threads get stuck. So I'm thinking I'm not quite threading it right, but it starts to go in and then doesn't. It's a bit weird. So take a look at these buttons here. Obviously, they're not super thick, but They do have the concentric circle type of thing going on. Only a few though. Only 2. They're not concave, but they do have this lip around the outside edge that is kind of chamfered in. And then the second thing is chamfered in as well. So that gives it some good grip, and the buttons are really small. I'm thinking, well, let's see. These are about 18mm buttons, so they are quite small compared to something like the Origin with the 20mm buttons, or maybe even 22. They're quite large. So I'm really a fan of the design of this little spinner here. I think it's really, really good. The rounding is super nice. The chamfer along the outside edges is really comfortable. There's a little bit of rounding in here on these edges, so they're a bit softer. But even with their size, you don't feel them while flicking this spinner at all because of just the way it's designed. It's really nice. So we took a look at the bearing. Let's take a look at what the spin times are and how well this guy performs. So as you can see in the upper left hand corner here, we have the spin times of this guy. So they're surprisingly good for a very tiny stainless steel spinner, a nano spinner, a mini spinner. There is no claim on their website for how long this spins, but it does spin pretty well. So the first spin time on the table spin being 3 minutes, second being 3:34, and the hard spin with 2 hands being 3 minutes and 40 seconds, which is pretty good for just a stainless steel bearing, and you know, not really anything crazy weight-wise happening, so that's good. Then on the hand spin, 248, 259, and 329. So hand spin being vertical. And normally those are always longer, but they weren't for some reason in this case. Maybe it's just how I spun it. But when you put the stealth bearing in, because I have a super stealth bearing, I put the super stealth bearing in, and man, does that change a lot. With 4 minutes on the table spin and 5 minutes on the hand spin. It wasn't really any quieter, but it did really change the spin time if that's what you're into. So yeah, it performs very well if that's what you're looking for in a mini spinner, and performs exceedingly well with the stealth bearing. So let's talk about actually fidgeting with this guy. How is it? Well, it's pretty good. I'm a big fan. I've been using it for long sessions. I'm using it in class, so it is quiet enough to use in class, by the way. I used it in class, under the table and above the table, and no one threw a hissy fit about it being loud or anything, so that's good. But yeah, it is fun to fidget with. This is my first mini spinner, my first nano spinner, so I was surprised at how easily I could flick it and how just well it does. The rounding, the curvature here is super, super nice. It makes it very easy to flick outward, pull inward, and if you're one of those people who does the middle and thumb hold and flicks their index finger, super good with this guy. If you land on the top for pulling backwards, for flicking outwards, you almost always can hit that as well, if that's your thing. With that kind of slope and smoothness, you can get a good kick off of it. This is probably my best spinner to actually fidget like this. I don't really like fidgeting like that, but with this I could totally do it. It's also good for the middle finger and ring finger flick, if that's your thing, or the normal index finger with the middle finger flick. It can do it anyway very well. This is definitely an everyday carry spinner because of its small size, and just how well it flicks, and it does table spins well because of the size of the caps. Just does it. Let's get to the size comparisons. First, let's compare it to the least similar thing of the Origin. You get kind of an idea there. It's quite small. Then something to dwarf it a bit, we have the Votri from FidgetHQ, which is actually, they're not selling this for much longer, but you can see there it's kind of ridiculous. These concave buttons would do very well on this guy, by the way, or Kong buttons I'm sure would be nice. See some thickness there. It's quite a thick spinner, quite chunky. I like that. And another brass spinner, we have the Triad for size comparison here. Obviously these buttons being much larger. Then of course we have the Zentry, very good spinner. I'd say the most similar in terms of how it feels when it spins, in terms of a larger spinner, that in my collection at least. Similar size buttons, similar-ish in thickness, but definitely not quite the same in the rest of the size. So if we take a look at the diameter sort of thing going on at the widest point, we're looking at what, 1.25 inches, about 1.5 inches? So about 1.5 inches, or for you metric people, we're looking at about 4.1, 4.2 centimeters. So this guy is quite small, but super fun, super pocketable, definitely an everyday carry, and I'm really a fan of it. For fun, let's put some buttons on it, because why not? The most obvious buttons to put on here would be the Votri buttons. These are basically Kong buttons. Really, really like them on here. They actually change how the bearing sounds because of just how these are designed. I do wish that these stock caps were concave just a little bit in somewhere in this dish, but these are quite good to put on there if you have them. I guess now is also a good time to talk about how smooth this guy is, because it is very well balanced. Super well balanced, actually. But yeah, so there's those caps. Going for that color combination, here we have the Zentry brass buttons. You can see. Very interesting, not nearly as concave, but adds a little bit of flair and color to this guy. My favorite button combination is both funny and good, is the Legacy Origin buttons. Yeah, they extend past the edge of the body, but they're actually quite good for this. They provide that good grip because of their gloss, and you still can easily flick it. I actually quite like it. The color combination is interesting, and the size is interesting, but I quite like it like this. It's very nice. Also, it's just kind of funny. So overall, would I recommend this guy? I would say yes, absolutely, I recommend this guy. It's a very nice spinner. It is definitely a very good mini spinner, and I am a fan of it. So yeah, that's really going to be it for this video. Links in the description. I think there is a buy one get one sale as of this video going out, so good luck, maybe you can get that. And yeah, like if you liked it, share the video, don't share the video, subscribe for more, and I will see you all later. Take care.